Listen, I'm not thrilled. Absolutely pumped. But when it came down to what mattered, Jimmy Butler came up clutch. And I tweeted this out. For all those people that said, Jimmy Butler's not worth it, he stinks. I've mentioned this so many times. When it comes down to it, Jimmy Butler could be quiet for 3 quarters. He could be quiet for literally 45 minutes of a basketball game. But when it is crunch time, when it is time, when it matters, Jimmy Butler is the type of player that can seal the deal, and he did that offensively and defensively tonight against the Orlando Magic. And when you have Amir Johnson starting, okay, you take the win, okay? You can take any win you can get. This wasn't easy without Embiid, without Boban, without Jonah, right? You're starting Amir Johnson, who technically didn't really have that bad of a night, and you got to rock Patton, someone who didn't really ever play in the NBA for a legit role. So before we get out of hand, because I know how a lot of you work, Patton played 9 minutes. He had some nice assists. Let's not get carried away. What sucked about this game was the extreme difference. So the first half we're shooting 61%. The Magic are shooting 55%. It's 70-64. Some mental errors, even from JJ Redick. So JJ had a absolutely phenomenal first half. He had 19 points in the first half, hit 5 threes. He finishes the day with 26 and 6 threes. But at the end of the first quarter, he just pulled up with about 6-7 seconds left, with so much time left on the clock. When the shot clock was unplugged, that allowed the Magic to go down and drain a 3 and keep the lead closer than it should have been. At the end of the second half, Amir Johnson did the same exact thing. We just got lucky that the Magic missed the open 3 that time. So 2 mental errors there that, I looked at and said, damn, come on, clean that stuff up. Then that's 2 veteran players. 2 veteran players who had a decent game, but it's kind of similar to Mike Scott against the Warriors. He had a phenomenal game, and then he fouled just uncharacteristically as a veteran. You gotta stay in it here. And those 2 guys made those mistakes. But we were up 70-64 as we go into the third. And so that was the explosive first half. Both teams were scoring at a tremendous rate. We couldn't get any stops. They couldn't get any stops. How about this for the third quarter scoring? 24-18. So an extreme difference, but we outscored them by 6. That's the big thing going into the fourth quarter, where we stalled. We absolutely stalled. We go on a 4-minute stretch where we can't score the basketball at all. We get outscored 24-20. They cut the lead to 2. We can't ever win comfortably. Now, I will say this. The Magic, you look at their record, you say they stink. And as of late, they've been winning basketball games and winning tough games against serious teams and serious opponents. So, the Magic have been on a legit tear. But come on, you're up comfortably, you're up double digits, you can't give that away. You can't be going on 4-minute droughts in the fourth quarter. We've seen that happen way too many times. And then Jimmy Butler stepped up, closing out the game in the late minutes. He ends up now in those jumpers, he ends up playing really legit D, and he ends up finding Mike Scott open for a really nice 3-pointer to kind of seal the deal for the Sixers, which is nice, and that's what he's for. He's a closer. That's what he does. He finishes the ball game late. You put the ball in his hands. You let him run the floor. Jimmy Butler is important. Let me repeat that. Jimmy Butler is important. He could be quiet for 45 minutes of a basketball game. I don't care. When we need to close out a game, I want the ball in his hands. Now, it's not going to work every single legitimate time, but I will live and die. I will go down fighting with Jimmy Butler having the ball in his hands late in the basketball game, and he showed up today. He showed up tonight clutch, and we needed that. We needed that out of him. So, like I said, Amir didn't play bad for his role, and that's a tough position to be in. You were a part of the team last year more than you are now, and you played, I think, 7 games of the last 27, I believe Mark Zumoff said that on the broadcast. It's a tough role to step into when you know who you're playing up against. Vucevic, who isn't a bad player at all, but he shoots 5 of 15 today and really struggled. Aaron Gordon and Fournier were the 2 that kept the Magic actually in this game. But the Sixers did what they needed to at the end. As ugly as it was by the backstretch, late, when we needed important Buckets. Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Buckets. So I'm not thrilled about it, right? I'm not sitting here pumped, feeling great, but you look at the circumstances, and that's what it is. It's nice to see J.J. Redick get off that funk finally, but he had a slower second half. Explosive as hell, 19 in the first, and he was knocking down everything, it seemed. He slowed down in a roll in that second half, so hopefully he can just build off of the game as a whole, hitting 6 threes and having 26 points. One thing he said after the game when he was getting interviewed by Serena Winters that stood out to me, he said, it seems like every game is different. It seems like every single time we play a game, the roster's different, whether it's from the trade or from people getting hurt and the rotations. He just seems like it's so different every game, and that's not what's great right now during this stretch. So hopefully we get Joel Embiid back. That's what he was stating, but he pointed out like it's weird. It's weird to have this different squad every night. You look at the bench, and TJ had valuable minutes, Mike Scott had valuable minutes, and I'll give those two credit. I will. TJ and Mike Scott, he proved to me that he can play more than I thought. He started out and I said he's a legit player. Then he went on a tough stretch, but he's showing me that he can play and he can be a piece to our team in a successful manner. One thing that just sucks for him is he's got to play the 5 at times, and he's not a real 5. Like, that's not a legit role for him, so he's playing out of his comfort zone, which can definitely affect the way that, he plays, but he stepped up for us, him and TJ. Guys like Jonathan Simmons and James Ennis stink. They stink. They're nowhere near what we need. And for Jonathan Simmons to go up against his former team, right, and stink, it's like, come on, man, play with a little bit of more oomph. He's just not good. He's not good. And speaking of former teams, Markelle Fultz, that would have been classic to see him. Obviously not play, but just be on the bench. I'm sure we would have been absolutely ruthless to him. Could you imagine Markelle Fultz on the charity stripe in the second half for free Frosties? It would have been absolutely insane. His return is going to be something crazy. In the beginning, I said, I wish the best for him, but at this point, it's like, okay. So looking at some stat lines, Ben Simmons had 16, 13, and 8. He was just 2 assists shy of another triple-double. I was really hoping that he would get that. He didn't shoot exceptionally well, but I saw him take some more jump shots today, especially that fadeaway that he likes to do, and by all means, man, by all means. Tobias, 21, 12, and 5, and he shot the ball 8 of 15. I love the way he plays the 4 position. I absolutely love it. Jimmy, more of a quiet night, but we all know at this point, down the stretch, when we needed it, he came up and was clutch. And he was rocking the headband, and he had the braids, and it's like, it's headband week. I think he was wearing that because of Bryce Harper, or maybe because of Broads. Maybe he was watching Broads, said, damn, Broads is rocking the headband this week. Let me rock it too. He looked great out there with the flaps in the back. I love that style. That is phenomenal style out of Jimmy Butler. Also, first of a back-to-back, we go up against the Bulls tomorrow. Realistically, no Joel Embiid again. I'm curious to see how the big man role plays out. Are we going to rock Amir Johnson and Patton again? I mentioned the Patton thing. I'm not sitting here ripping him, but let's not get carried away for his 9 minutes, 1 point, and a couple assists and a couple rebounds. 21 years old. He's not going to be the savior. Let's not call for extreme minutes here. Okay? I know how some of you work. I saw a little bit of, nice passes and all, but let's not get carried away. Speaking of the Bulls, they played the Pacers, and it was close tonight. It was kind of close, but the Pacers pulled away there late, and the Pacers get the win. Now, on Thursday, the Pacers play the Bucks in Milwaukee, I believe. So, let me just double check on that. I believe it is in Milwaukee, though. Yes, it is, as we play the Bulls tomorrow. So, hopefully, if things work out, we take care of business tomorrow, and then Thursday, the Pacers in a tough environment, taking out what will be where we kind of want to be for that 3rd seed and getting closer to our destination. So let me know your thoughts down below on this ball game. It wasn't pretty. It got a little ugly. It got a little sloppy. It goes on a 4-minute drought. But late, when it mattered, Jimmy Butler was the answer, and he found Mike Scott, who drained a really big 3. So that's what it was. Take it for what it is. You can either be happy about it because of the fact that looking at our rotation and looking at the fact that we had to rock Amir Johnson in the starting lineup, you can be happy for that. or you can say there should be no excuse for it to get that tight. And that's where I'm leaning. But I see the other side. It is what it is. It's a win. I just hate how we consistently blow these leads. It's wild. It just blows my mind. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you guys next game. Go Sixers.